Here's what's next on the Nice Guys on Business.
The concept real estate success in 5 minutes a day came from the book. And that concept came about because I had so many people when I was coaching and speaking say, I don't have enough time to do, what I say I want to do to achieve what I want to achieve. And I'm like, well, do you have 5 minutes a day? I was wanting them to break down the fact that, yes, everybody has 5 minutes a day. And then it was, well, will you commit to 5 minutes a day? Will you do it? Because if you can start small and build up, and this is a productivity hack.
So tell me, when the time is right, will you be ready for the Nice Guys on Business? Oh, yeah. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, Nice Guy community. So with the wind at her back and the 5 Minute Success brand under her wings, today, returning guest Karen Briscoe is here to share her secrets to success that have given rise to her top 1% globally ranked podcast. Now, Karen, you may not even realize this. I just was looking at stats today, so we'll talk about that today. Aptly called 5 Minute Success Podcast, along with her also named book. Let's dive into success today. Heck yes. Karen, welcome back to the Nice Guys.
Well, you were there at the beginning, so you are part of that success, Doug.
Well, thanks, Karen. And I love to take as much credit as I deserve, but I throw all the credit for the most part back to the content creator, because while we can produce a show, it involves great content to begin with. How long ago did you start your podcast? How many episodes in are you actually?
420 something, which is, I know in the whole pod world, that is quite a milestone in itself because of pod fade and all the things, everybody has all these grand ideas. It's been an amazing experience and opportunity. The people I've been able to have conversations with, and it's just really a powerful medium. And I'm so thrilled that Turnkey has been a part of it from the beginning.
Well, and we appreciate your business. I certainly don't want to turn this into an infomercial about Turnkey. Would rather turn the mirror around on you and looked at, when I was looking at some of the stats today. And again, I look at Listen Notes, and Listen Notes tends to be like the global ranking tool that most podcasters use when it comes to ranking podcasts. I was not surprised that I saw top 1%, because it seems like everything that you do with intention and purpose, and you have a direction. And forget podcasting for just a moment. Just in life, how important are those things? Purpose and intention. How important are those?
Yes. And, doing what you say you're going to do. I was having a conversation. So many people have great ideas and vision, their ability to implement. And so, I'm what many people would just say a classic workhorse. But when I decide to do something, I'm going to go all in and put every professional efforts into it. And I will say, when I launched it, my reasoning was I was, as an author, relatively new author in 2016, I was being asked to be a guest on podcasts, and I thought, well, I could have a podcast and it's the other side of the mic. That, right? So it went with the 5 Minute Success podcast. I have an opportunity to have amazing conversations from people, in a lot of entrepreneurial worlds, a lot of it real estate, because that's my main gig. And then, the authors, the coaches, the entrepreneurs, and really it's been a fantastic way to experience that, while at the same time, the other side of the mic, then I have an opportunity to get the message of 5 Minute Success, and my space is out. So, really it's, and I think there's also, the whole pod swap. You have a podcast, somebody like, okay, let's do that. So it's just really been a wonderful experience.
What I oftentimes bring up with clients that are now as far schooled as you are in the podcasting world is I talk about those hidden gifts that you get from podcasting that you never realize that you're going to get when you start podcasting. Hey, I'll be able to sell sponsorship and advertising, or I'll be able to get business from this, or I'll create a larger community, or I'll be an influencer, and all of that stuff. And while that stuff is great, I don't want to diminish any of the importance of those things. And I'll selfishly say this for just a moment. The relationship that I've developed with you in this podcasting space, the hidden thing that I gotten from this that I never really anticipated getting was we made the connection with your son, and your son is in commercial real estate. And so now I'm a part of these 3 investment properties that I would never have been in had I not met you through podcasting, had you not made the introduction and trusted me and trusted your son to do it. And I come back to that a lot because so many people, even that when they're 500, 1,000 episodes in, I'm still working on monetizing. Well, did you think about the relationships that you have built through podcasting? I'd love your comments just on that.
Absolutely. Well, I would say the referrals that come out of it are the biggest opportunity and wins. And so if you were going to look at it from a monetizing perspective, when I sell a house in residential real estate in my world, it's like a minimum of $10,000. I mean, it's not really, by anything. If I sell a book, I make $10. So I originally thought it was going to be a platform for selling books. What I found it was a platform for referral for real estate business, but also referral for other opportunities and entrepreneurs. I do coaching, so it's a great way to connect with people who are wanting to up-level their business and life, and that 5-minute success concept resonates with them. And so that is probably the majority of the way I have monetized it. I would say, though, the relationships have been priceless. So, I know people say I wouldn't do it even if I would get paid. There is a component to that. However, I do make good money because of the podcasting. So I want everybody to know that too. So, and then the other opportunity that's come out of it monetizing wise has been the opportunity to have people who want to be a guest and, want to do the skip the line thing. And right. So for a fee will become a guest. And that has been something that I've been exploring and doing more of in the most recent years.
Well, what's so great about the way that you do it, you bring to the table your same motivation to podcasting as you bring to life. And I always look at those early stage podcasters that are 10 episodes in or 20 or even 100 episodes in, because I still consider even 100 episodes kind of new in the podcasting space. Many of them come into podcasting expecting their path to be, I have this service and I'm going to provide this service through my airwaves, whether it's a book or a coaching service or whatever. And then you get to the end of the year and they're like, hey, I wasn't able to accomplish any of those goals. And I say, well, had you looked at other things, other opportunities that you have found in that space? I'd love to hear what your perspective is. And you touched on it just briefly, but I want you to expand upon it. You came in looking for the $10 sale, feeling like the book was going to be the promotional tool. You realized once you were here, maybe it's the $10,000 sale that I'm actually after. And while it might sound obvious to a listener, of course, 10,000 is better than 10. That wasn't the original intention. So can you talk about that path in those early stages and how you kind of pivoted or realigned what your expectation was of your podcast?
Well, I'm sure if you talk to your CPA, they're going to say, well, at what point it's not a hobby, right? And the IRS's perspective, is there any resources that come from this? And so I wanted to look at it from a different perspective. And I said, well, but it is a marketing vehicle. And when I looked at it from that perspective, I'm marketing myself as a coach, and, that is great, continuous income. And then I look at it, the opportunity to connect with the real estate space and those interested in real estate, investing in real estate, working in real estate in whatever way. And then I was like, well, those are, those opportunities are all over the world and all and at all levels. And so when I opened that up, then I was like, well, this is really one of the very best vehicles to do that. I thought I was going to go on the speaking tour. I thought that was going to be my path, particularly like with the books. And I was like, but then I have to get on an airplane and I have to dedicate so many days podcasting. I have a little setup in my office and I have one at home, and I could do this from anywhere, as I'm sure you've discovered as well. But I will also say, to have and you talked about this at the beginning, having a message that resonates with the community and with people, that it is important too, because there are a lot of real estate podcasts now.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the concept, one of the outcomes of the 5-minute success is that I hadn't anticipated is if you name your book Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day, and you have your podcast called 5-Minute Success, one of the first things people are going to ask you is, how do you do that? And then those conversations led to really becoming somewhat of a productivity expert coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that opened up a whole nother arena / genre outside of real estate, entrepreneurs, investor circles. And so that is another space that I've entered into that I hadn't anticipated when I started on this journey.
Did you find that in podcasting because of some outreach from either your guests or from an audience? Or so is that the case? Or did you create that thinking that your audience would like that because you're in this podcasting space? Which way did you come to the podcasting finding that, or did you find that and then bring it to your audience?
Well, I think that's a both and. The concept Real Estate Success in 5 Minutes a Day came from the book. And that concept came about because I had so many people when I was coaching and speaking say, I don't have enough time to do, what I say I want to do to achieve what I want to achieve. And I'm like, well, do you have 5 minutes a day? I was wanting them to break down the fact that, yes, everybody has 5 minutes a day. And then it was, well, will you commit to 5 minutes a day? Will you do it? Because if you can start small and build up, and this is a productivity hack. And so I was breaking through the resistance that was stopping them from doing what they said they want to do. And then the book, as you may recall, has core principles to the 5-minute success. And that is commit to get leads, which is business development, lead generation, prospecting, consult to sell, which many people call conversion, or, the process of taking a customer client through. Then you have the success, connect to build and grow, which is leverage, scale, creating ongoing systems and building a business or an operation. And then success, thinking, activities, and vision, which is the mindset motivation piece. What I had this aha, well, I already have a format for my podcast. I have it right there. And so I was like, well, this is perfect. We can have 5 minutes on each topic, an intro and an outro. And there we go. A nice 30-minute episode. I think what my audience my community over the 400 episodes is, wow, isn't it amazing that Karen's talked to over 400 people in many different spaces and arenas, and they all do those things in some way. Yeah. Right. And so that has become very powerful in itself. So when you say, well, what was it? I think the commitment to that concept in the beginning resonated really well with podcasting, and the formatting and the commitment to staying with the formatting. I have expanded, one other formatting style I use, which is more of the heroine's journey, flip time, love life. I've done some of those episodes, which is more the story of the guest. But because the community of 5-minute success is wanting to achieve a higher level of success in business and life, by investing 5 minutes a day, then it really resonates with them.
What encouraged you or motivated you to come up with the whole brand to begin with? Because it seems so simple, but it seems so complex in that there are a lot of, you went through the pillars of the process right there. Just naming the process could take 5 minutes alone. What motivated you to get started with doing this? Was it seeing the white space out there in the world that needed to be, colored in? Or did you feel like, hey, this really is, mine is, to be a nice guy, you got to tell the truth, return your communication, and be a nice guy. I mean, it's period at the end. It's pretty simple to follow the nice guy philosophy, and yours is that 5-minute success. What was your motivation?
I had been doing a lot of coaching and speaking because I had achieved a level of success and had been through some challenging markets and business situations that many people wanted to know how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept sharing that story, and many people kept saying you should write a book, just like you wrote a book, right? So kind of my manifesto came out and it resonated with people, and they're like, you should write a book. And when I set about to write the book, I remember my publisher saying, well, my original thought was real estate agents, salespeople, they're like squirrels. They're always after the next shiny object. So they're not going to want to read a book that's like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. They're going to want something that's going to every day have something different. So the concept of a daily reader for a business person, I felt like was a little bit of a twist, kind of like a bringing chocolate and peanut butter together and creating a Reese's peanut butter cup. It was like I'm bringing two concepts together that are not new, but combined. And the publisher said to me, well, that's well and good, but there has to be some structure. And I literally just drew that Venn diagram on a napkin, and it still works. So it's like when you're talking about foundational pillar, I would say the 400 plus guests have proven that these are principles to success, and in many arenas and spaces. And that, I think, also is what resonates, because yes, markets are changing, the world's changing. There's a lot of things that's changed since the book came out in 2016, but these concepts are still true. And because they're core principles.
So you've been in the real estate game for how long now?
Well, if you go all the way back to my commercial roots, my origin story, it would go further, but on the residential side, since 2002. So I've seen a lot of markets and changes.
Yeah. And there has been some huge changes in the last 23 years since you got started. So what was your inspiration for even just getting started in your own business? Because, you have to be self-starter, self-motivated, all of that to step out of corporate America. So how did you decide that this self-employed role can be the one that you were going to take?
I do believe I have at least 50% entrepreneurial genes, because my father is a true entrepreneur. And I look back on my careers, and I have very small stints at corporate jobs where somebody tells me what to do. Mostly because I usually just start running circles around them going, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? And I outgrow them so fast that most people are like, okay, this isn't working. Or I go, this isn't working. Although I've had several opportunities in real estate where I did grow and learn a lot. So I'm not saying that wasn't possible, but and the sales side, I will say I did not consider myself a salesperson. And so I chose the perspective of service. And when I serve people at a very high level and meet their needs, then I wouldn't be selling them anything.
Right.
And people self-discover. I come from the commercial background, which is many people view as being the hard side of the business, with market knowledge, strategy, negotiations. And I have a really, really, really strong core of that. That is how I began in the business. What I found with the residential side that I actually is what makes me love it is the people. Because even people I don't know, I love their story. I love figuring out how I can help them. I love figuring out how to make it work in the marketplace, because every marketplace has its own opportunities and challenges. And that's what I love about this business, is because every single deal is different. Even when same client, same agent, even the same house. I had this happen once, Doug. I had an upper bracket home with a very high profile seller, and it was in a challenging market. So it went under contract at around $3 million, and a executive of a big company bought it. And at the same time, I was working with an attorney who said he wanted to buy it, but he got kind of bid out by this executive. This company was not going to buy it for him. 3 months later, the executive never moved in because it got transferred. It came back on the market.
Oh, no.
And with the same agent that had represented the buyer. So we were going to then be on flipping sides, right?
Right.
And that attorney came back to me and goes, you know that house. You know exactly what we need and what we want you to represent us. And I said, well, actually I do. I know things that nobody else knows.
Right. I bet.
And ever since then, I was like, even that same house, the same agents on the other side, it was still such a completely different transaction. So that's what keeps me just really energized with it and feel like it's a mission and a calling, because I do believe that my unique ability, that my sets of skills have served me or have grown me to where I am. I tell the story, I'm sure you remember the story of Picasso, and somebody, stopped him in a cafe or whatever and said, will you sketch me something? And he did in about 5 minutes. And they said, well, he charged him $5,000. And they go, that took you 5 minutes. I go, no, it took decades to get here.
Right.
Like, I know things that I can't even explain to you how I know them, because I just know them from institutional knowledge and experience. And that's what, I really excel at, is being able to do that for people.
And you've mentioned the word transaction a couple of times, but the last thing I would think that you are is it all transactional and more relational. So I as you were telling that story, I was talking about this isn't a transaction. Not to contradict anything that you're saying, I 100% am in alignment with what your purpose is and how why your passion is where it is. It's because you look forward to the relationship. And I do too. And that's exactly what it is. It's not a monthly transaction. It is a relationship that you are able to continue, which has worked for you for the last 23 or 20 plus years in real estate. When you were growing up, did you know what you wanted to do? I'm not talking about real estate or sales, but did you know what direction that you wanted to go in?
I actually, growing up, I anticipated I would be in business again because of my father. I did not anticipate being an entrepreneur, because even though my father was an entrepreneur, he had many roller coaster years of entrepreneurship, and I didn't want that. So I thought I was going to do like a corporate America thing. I just found out very quickly that my entrepreneurial genes were stronger. And I actually, in college or grad school, had gone to seminary because this level of wanting to be of service and to help people, when they're in a very challenging situation, time of life, to be able to, and really, if you look at my life and you say, wow, where you ended up, the majority of reasons why people buy and sell houses are life events. And those life events almost always are on the scale of, there's a scale. Death is, I have many times where I'm helping people with a situation where a family member died. Divorce, sadly, happens too. But also the positive D's. You have diapers, the babies come, the diamonds, the kids get married, the downsizing. Lots of baby boomers downsizing. I have like a whole 79 million of them I can help. There's just, so when I look at the life events people are going through, and I go, I can help you through this. On the financial transactional side, yes, we want to achieve, the best the market can bear. At the same time, this is a very emotional time. Even when you want to do it, even when it's positive, it has so many layers. And so that's where if you say, how did I know? I didn't really know. I discovered that this is really my calling.
They say the apple does not fall far from the tree, and in Drew's case, just because I know your son Drew, you've inspired him, motivated him somehow to doing what he does in commercial real estate. I'm curious, was that not intentional to have him go into commercial real estate, but was it by design or by what's it called, nature or nurture? Was it just through your presence that he was able to achieve what he's been able to achieve as well?
It's fascinating. I knew he was probably destined for commercial real estate when he was born, because he was negotiating with me. And I like to tell the story. I was at grad school at SMU, and I had a 3-year-old at home, and I won the negotiations for our team. And they said, you have a 3-year-old at home. What do you know about negotiations? I'm like, you have never negotiated if you haven't negotiated against a 3-year-old. And so I felt like he his calling would be the commercial side, because when I said there's kind of like the hard and soft side, of the business, the hard side is really the commercial side. The residential side gets into hard and soft. And I felt like that was a good fit for him. I did not steer him that way, but he did go to a SMU, which has a wonderful finance / real estate. And he went into it because he discovered that I was right. I didn't try to push him into it. He just discovered it for himself in the school. And then he got a commercial internship, and then it went from there. So, but I knew that he was going to be negotiating something. I thought maybe he'd be an attorney, a litigator or something, but he didn't have the patience to go to law school. And he's like, well, I can hire lawyers. So anyhow, so that's how, but it's wonderful for me to have, Drew, and we, in our family, we facetiously say that Drew is me on steroids.
Well, he does a great job. And between he and Callie and his whole team, they do a wonderful job of communicating and staying true to their word, and all of the things that an investor kind of gets a little nervous, especially when these were my first 3 commercial real estate transactions. So I was a little nervous going into the first one, but I kept calling you, and you kept holding my hand through the process. And you're like, it's fine. I trust him. I'm involved in this also. So
my money's on the line too. And I'm telling you, my son wouldn't put me in something if he didn't think it was going to work. So
understood.
Yeah.
Karen, talk to, before we wrap up, I know we're a little short on time, but I want to make this quick, but I want to also share a lesson for our listening audience that are also in the entrepreneurial world. What's some of the stuff that you're still working on as a business owner? I know as a successful person, we all want to bite off as many pieces of the pie as we can. Sometimes it's a little bit intimidating, and those that are in our audience, I'm sure they could relate to any of the hurdles that you are still trying to overcome, if there are any. So what's something that you're still trying to work on to help you with your business?
Well, remember how I said one of the last, I say last, it's not last in that it should be last. It's the actually overarching, and that's success, thinking, activities, and vision. So my mind is, could be what is challenging because limiting beliefs and, those kind of negative thoughts, the ants and everything. So I would say just ongoing, that's an opportunity with coaching and mentoring and masterminds and, podcasts, audiobooks. So that is an ongoing opportunity. I would say the other thing, and the pandemic certainly has done this for a lot of people, but creating more streams of income that do not require physicality. That's one thing I love about podcasting. Like I said, I could do it from really anywhere. I've got a good internet connection and microphone and headset. And in building that and revenue streams, you talked about the commercial deals. I kept saying, what I believe is very powerful is to have revenue streams that then you're working because you feel called, led, mission driven, and not working because you're trying to just pay the bills. Yeah. Right. So those are the ongoing opportunities that I continue to work on. And I think that's the good news, though, because, really, if it really was all figured out, what would be the adventure?
I'm with you. If we knew the numbers of every winning lottery ticket, it would be great to play. But then what? You're just going to stand there in the corner and say, now I'm done? I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. If you find, you named it perfectly. You said mission, passion. What were the things? I don't remember. Do you remember what those things that you just said were? Because those are like the things those are the things that really do motivate me. Not the dollars are great, and it's terrific to be able to have more money than month rather than the other way around. But ultimately, doesn't it come down to having some sort of purpose, some mission, and a passion in what you're doing?
Yeah, and making an impact. That's one thing in terms of growing my next, if you will, what is the next? I would say the impact with the coaching, because as often happens, you achieve a high level of success and you do it yourself. So, how do you then transfer or translate that to helping somebody else achieve their success. And I know that you all do that well, because obviously you're doing it and helping people, launch podcasts and to success. Like I said, there's a lot of pod fade out there. So Turnkey has proven that, there are core principles. So the same thing for me is, how do I build that? Because I think that is, when you talk about mission and passion, that really is the next opportunity. I know I can do it for me. How can I help somebody else do it for themselves, their growth? Yeah.
Well, Karen, I knew that this episode, this recording would not disappoint. It goes well beyond anything that I had ever anticipated the relationship would go to. Just from 400 plus episodes, that's incredible. We have just a few clients that have achieved that level of volume of episodes. I look at it and think, wow, we've been doing this now. In February, we'll be celebrating 10 years as podcasters, 1,600 episodes of our show, like 6 million downloads through the years. And all I'm doing is just bringing a message and having some great conversations and building relationships. I don't understand why everybody doesn't do this, but it's just some people's limiting beliefs why they can't.
Well, and I think that when I said, the mind, it is a limiting belief, because there is so much opportunity, and you can, learn, grow, and become better than before. So if that's something that's resonating with you, like I mentioned, I am, expanding my coaching. So would love to have a conversation with anybody that would like to.
That would be great. And for those that are looking to get in touch with Karen directly so she can tell you some of her success principles, feel free to check the link in the show notes. But Karen, why don't you tell everybody how they can get to you directly if they want to reach you?
Well, the 5-minute success is the number 5-minute success. And there's a website, all the socials and everything. And then if you, like I said, are interested in talking about coaching, there's a link on the website to schedule a call with me to see if it would be a good fit. And then on the real estate side, you could pretty much Google me and I take the whole first page. I'm in the DMV, which is the DC, suburban Maryland, Northern Virginia. I don't know what marketing person thought it was a great idea to call us the DMV, but that's what they call us now. And I can certainly help with your residential real estate needs, but I also have connections in other arenas as well. So if that's something I could be of service to, please let me know.
Great. Well, Karen, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for sharing again your story, and the reasons behind your success are obvious to us, even more so now than they were before you got on the show. So thanks for being here and discussing.
Well, thank you, Doug.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Karen Briscoe. All of her information, including access to her website and to her podcast, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Fill up your week with the nice guys. Trust me, this is going to hurt me a lot less than it's going to hurt you.